Welcome to today's presentation on changing careers. The presentation today is sponsored by the OU Alumni Association as well as the Career Services Office here at the University of Oklahoma. We want to thank you for joining our presentation today. Changing careers is a very big decision that an individual can make in their life. It can be very challenging. It can also be very rewarding if it goes according to plan. We want to talk about, the reason why we want to talk about it today is we want to give you some things that you want to think about before you make this decision. We also want to give you some things that you're going to need to get done or do once you've made the decision to change your career. So first of all, we're going to look at what type of change might be best for you. Next, we're going to look at assembling a support system. Then we're going to talk about assessing your skills and talents. Then we're going to look at developing a job search plan. Then we're going to look at some things you need to think about while you're at your current job. And then we're going to look at some career change myths that might come about once you start this process of changing your career. So why change careers? You want to think about whether it's necessary to completely abandon all the time that you've put in a company in order to start over. Or could you take your experience and knowledge and move to a different department and be re-energized again? Or, if none of those seem appealing to you, changing careers. So you want to ask yourself, how will I feel in 12 months if I do nothing? So if you're not going to feel a positive, then you're going to need to look at either moving to another department within your company or leaving the company to change careers. The next thing you're going to want to do is take stock of your entire life. And you're going to need to think about things, for instance, if you're going to need to relocate in order to change your career. You need to think about if you can financially absorb a career change. Or will you need to get your financial house in order before pursuing a career change? It is very important that you have your finances in order, especially if you're going to consider leaving your career first before you have a new one. So getting your personal life, your personal finances in order, such as possibly cutting out cable, eliminating cell phones, etc., in order to have your finances in order and being able to absorb leaving your career in order to look for another one. Next, you're going to want to think about what kind of effect this decision is going to have on your family. Your spouse, your children, they're going to be affected by this, especially if you're going to have to relocate in order to pursue this new career. So this is definitely something you're going to want to discuss with your spouse. They're going to need to be included in this change, especially if you're going to make a career change. And finally, mentally, do you have the capacity to personally commit to making this change? This is going to be a big undertaking. Make no bones about it. It is not going to be a small thing, especially if you're going to continue to work while you pursue this career change. You're going to need to be able to compartmentalize your current work plus the work you're going to have to do towards the career change. And mentally, that is going to be very taxing. It's going to be a huge demand on your time, because not only will you have the time that you have to commit to the job you already have, but you're going to need to commit to a job of changing careers. And that is going to require time as well. And mentally, it's going to be very taxing. And so you want to make sure that you're fully committed to having both those things pull on your life. And mentally, it's going to be very challenging. The next thing you're going to want to do once you've decided to change careers is you're going to assemble a support system. So you're going to be looking for an individual or individuals that can help you with this burden. A career change buddy or buddies, as it would be. You're looking for individuals that you can bounce ideas off of, that will help keep you motivated and encouraged, can provide a different perspective on the career change, can look at things from a different angle, and that will give you honest, constructive feedback. You want to be careful about using personal friends or individuals at work. They could be looking at you changing your career and feel like that they need to do the same thing, and then they're not going to be a very good help to you. They're going to be more involved in changing their own career than they are going to be about supporting you in your change. So you want to look for individuals or possibly even groups that can help you through this change, or an individual that's already gone through this change, that knows the pitfalls, that knows the kind of support you're going to need, because it's very important to have the right type of people in this role. Changing careers is a complex process, so there is no shame in seeking strength in numbers. So the more people that you can add to this support system, the more successful you're going to be. Being able to foresee and have help in overcoming obstacles is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of commitment and resolve. So having these individuals help you when you have things that come up, when you get stuck and you need motivation, these are the types of people that you're going to want to have in your support system. Next, you're going to want to assess your current skills and talents. The first thing you're going to want to do is develop a skills inventory. You want to look at your entire work history. So that way you would include skills you no longer use but have, as well as skills that are now second nature. You want to review all aspects of your life, including community service and your personal life. You're looking for examples of leadership, project management, technical skills, teamwork skills, etc. You want to pay special attention to segregate transferable skills versus trade skills. Your transferable skills are going to be those skills that you would be able to take to any job regardless of what it might be, such as communication skills, leadership skills. Trade skills or technical skills are going to be something specific to the industry or the job title that you currently hold. Next, you're going to want to develop a talent inventory. Now, you can distinguish talents versus skills based on whether you had to work to develop the ability or you seem to know intuitively what was needed. That's going to be the difference between a talent and a skill. Finally, you're going to look at development areas. Which skills and talents have you wanted to develop further? And you want to focus on those things that you sincerely want to do, not what you think is needed in order to get ahead. Creating these inventories is going to go a long way in helping determine what kind of career, or careers you can focus on. Also, you want to utilize your support system and get their feedback about your skills and talents as well. Hopefully they're going to give you honest, unbiased feedback about these things. Finally, you could take a look at assessment tests at this point. You can consider taking either a formal or an informal assessment test that will measure anything from aptitude to personality interest. Remember, assessment tests follow the GIGO rule: garbage in, garbage out. And they're only as good as the effort you put into them. Next, it's going to be important to clarify your values as well as your passions and interests. You want to focus on your core values or principles that guide your life, not because of what you hope they will bring you, like success and wealth, but because you believe them to be intrinsically valuable. Dissatisfaction in either or both our personal and professional lives is the fact that you may not have defined those values that you deem important. Shining a light on this subject will be a good exercise, especially if you've not done so recently. Changes in our lives, getting married, starting a family, these things can greatly influence our values and what we deem important, and will be a big influence over the types of new careers that we pursue. Passions and interests. Getting in touch with your passions and your interests is a great exercise and can lead you to possible ideas about new careers. When you're doing something you feel passionate about, you lose yourself in that work. You are totally motivated and you do it very well. A lot of times people in those types of situations say they would work for free because they are so passionate about what they're doing. You're also going to need, and what career stage you're in is going to affect your values and the types of things that are going to be important to you. If you're just beginning, you're probably interested in careers that will advance you in professional standing. If you're in the middle or kind of later in your career, you're going to be looking for a change that will provide meaning and be more closely aligned with your core values. Next, you're going to want to look at your ideal work environment. It's as important to know not only what you don't want in your work environment as what you do want in your work environment. But you also want to remember you don't want to use this as the only measuring stick for a new career. If you did, it's possible you might overlook a situation that you could adapt to if you have a passion for the career or the work. Looking at geographics, whether you want to work for yourself or for an organization, work in a team or independently, are just a few of the things that you want to consider when you're defining your ideal work environment. Make sure you don't censor yourself when you're considering work environment. Write down everything that would be important to you, however trivial you might think it might be. Write it down, because it could be something, one aspect that could become very important to you. The next thing we're going to do, or that you're going to want to do, is identify your dream job. You've assessed your skills, you've looked at your values, you've looked at your work environment. Now it's time to visualize what new career could possibly look like. Looking at career options that incorporate the same skills and knowledge that you currently have will present options with the least amount of resistance. The downside to that is you will most likely be back in the same type of situation you are currently trying to move away from. So that might not always be a good idea. Taking a creative approach and incorporating what you have determined is important in your life will empower you, and it will lead you to pursue those options that will provide you with the personal satisfaction you desire. It may take a little longer, but you're definitely going to be a lot more satisfied if you think creatively about this process. Visualizing your ideal workday is one way that you can do that. Thinking about what would you be doing, where you would be based, what kind of people would your colleagues be, what kind of company or organization would it be. So visualizing that can go a long way in helping you identify your dream job. Or you could create an activities checklist of those items that appeal to you and write them down. This is also a good time to connect with people that are doing the type of work you are interested in transitioning to, and finding out what do they like about this work, what do they like least about this work, how did they get into this career, etc. These are just a few of the questions that you could ask them. Going through this creative process will help you create a perfect job scenario and will dramatically increase your chances of finding that job or one very similar. Contrary to popular belief, going after your dreams is a good thing. Even if you just fall short, you will end up farther ahead than you were before you started the process. The next thing we want to take a look at is developing a job search action plan. Developing an action plan is the best way to get your ideas in your head defined into a cohesive plan. Having an action plan is also the best way to stay focused and motivated, because you can refer back to your plan, find out where you've gotten off track when you get off track, and get right back to where it is that you need to be going. So the first thing you want to do is to follow the SMART goal setting rules, where you have a specific, well-defined goal or goals. The goals need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, they need to be relevant, they need to be time-bound. So they need to have a deadline. You want to break them down, remember, into small, even very small steps. Okay? And you want to make sure and set yourself clear deadlines. There are a few action planning models that you can follow that will help guide you through this job, setting up a job search action plan. I've noted two here. You can find dozens in research, in books, in the library, on the internet, etc. The first one we'll talk about is GROW, which is an acronym. It starts out with a goal, so you must have a clear, well thought out, specific goal. Then sort of a reality check, so you want to check your goal against where you are realistically in your career life, in your personal life, etc. How it stacks up against your values, your interests, and your passions. Next, you want to think about the obstacles and the options. So you want to consider those things that will get in the way of completing your goal or your goals, and formulate options to overcome them. So thinking about it out in the future. What kind of obstacles could come up from this goal? And then finally, will. and that relates to what will you do as far as the options that you undertake to overcome your obstacles. You want to set deadlines and work with your support team to hold you accountable to the deadline. And this process can be performed over and over again until you have acquired the career that you aspire to. Another action planning model is reverse engineering. This model starts at the end, your ideal career goal, and works backward, focusing on those things that you need to accomplish in order to get to that end goal, and whether you'd be able to do those things within the next week. If the answer is no, you explore ideas, working backwards from that, asking, can I be doing that in the next week? Until you come to an idea that you can accomplish within the next week. This being your first action step towards that end goal. It's very important that you have a plan in this process. Not ultimately end all be all that you have an action plan, but you need to at least have a goal in mind. What we're looking at now is how you can visualize your career change taking place. Starting in the left corner, you see you have your current job title and your current industry, and then in the bottom right corner, the new job title and the new industry that you aspire to. Now you can try in one step, try to go from where you are currently to the new job title and the new industry. That is going to be the most difficult path. We would recommend kind of a transition in a two-step phase in order to get to the new job and new industry. And working either through going with a new job title in the same industry or a new industry with the same job title. And then working from that point to the new job title in the new industry. This will allow you to maintain some constancy in your life, and will also provide some continuity to the past, where you can claim some of your current experience and expertise each time you make a move or a change. The next thing we want to talk about is overcoming obstacles. You know, what we have listed here are just a few of the common obstacles that you will encounter. Procrastination is going to be there, feeling stuck, the but what if, self-doubt. These are all going to come up at some point. Reaffirming your goals and recommitting to them will help you to overcome these obstacles. Commonly, these obstacles are perpetuated as resistance by those who are not as committed to your career shift as you. That's why, as we stated earlier, the people that you have in your support group are very important, because if they are not as committed as you are, they are going to put these obstacles in your path, and they're going to be very difficult to overcome. The next thing we want to talk about is handling your current job while you're doing this career search. If you plan on staying employed at your current position and you're going to be leaving that company, or even if you're going to be looking within your own company for a new position, these are some things that you want to keep in mind. First of all, you probably want to keep it a secret. You know, letting your current employer know you're leaving before you submit your resignation letter is a bad thing. They could terminate you before you could submit that resignation, and then that position is going to go in as a termination, not as a resignation. Next, do not use the company phone for personal use. Trying to use the phone to work through your career change process is eventually going to become suspicious. You know, plus it is rude to use this resource for this purpose. And at some point you're going to have to explain, because somebody's going to overhear a conversation. They're going to go to your supervisor, and you're going to have to explain to your supervisor why you were talking to XYZ company. And you just don't want to get into that. It's going to be a lot easier if you use your cell phone on your own time during your break, during your lunch hours, etc., to make the phone calls you need to make. Next, do not search for a job using the company computer or internet. You know, it's extremely easy for companies to monitor your activity both on the internet and your email while at work. The thing you need to remember about your email account, for example, is that email account belongs to the company. It does not belong to you. It is not your personal property. Although you may do a lot of personal things on it, talking to a spouse, etc., emailing friends, emailing colleagues within the company, that email account still belongs to the company, and they have the right to monitor it. They also have the right to monitor or limit your internet access as well. And you don't want your supervisor figuring out you're visiting a job search site every day. They can end up terminating you for it because they could use it as a reason for cause because you're not getting your work done. So if you have not opened a personal email account, you need to do that at this point, and use that. A lot of times you can access that from a website such as Google, Yahoo, and do your emailing through that email account and not have anything come into your work email account. Finally, you want to work hard until the last day. You know, messing up in the final days you work for a company can ruin a great tenure. Giving quality work, above average or excellent work will leave a good impression with the company and will ensure a positive reference if maybe you needed one in the future. A peaceful resignation will go a long way, not only with helping to exercise the ghost of a job you possibly hate, but the trivial loyalty that sticks with you once you leave. It will disappear and you'll be free to pursue career happiness elsewhere. The next thing we want to talk about are some myths that will come up during your changing careers process. You know, without the right support group, you'll possibly hear these myths not once, if not often. Okay? The thing to remember, these hurdles will most likely only reside in you. So the myth may be there, and if somebody from your support group brings it up, you know, you're not going to be able to get over it without their help. And if they're not as committed to you as to this career change as you are, then you're not going to be able to get past this myth. Myth number one: you are too old. A career change is too late. This myth stems from the concern of whether a more experienced individual will be able to handle the stress of change. If you have the conviction and the motivation to pursue your goals despite the disapproval from others, then you can make things happen. So your age and your experience level should not come into play when you're thinking about changing careers. Myth number two: it is too late to learn and be good at a new career. Seeking new challenges is one of the main reasons people pursue a career change, not only within their company, but within a different company or a different career. Improving or developing in areas you are not familiar can be very gratifying, very satisfying. It can make a big change in your life. So be sure to give yourself time and know when to stop pushing yourself. Myth number three: changing careers involves a lot of risk. Guess what? Of course it does. You will continually question and doubt yourself if year after year you don't do anything because there is some risk involved. There are going to be risks. You are possibly going to have setbacks. Your motivation and drive will eventually lead to success, even without a well laid out plan. So do not let the fact that there will be risk involved stop you from what it is that you feel like you want to do with your life. Myth number four: I could start at the bottom if I change my career. Your experience has equipped you with skills, perspective, and wisdom that give you an edge over less experienced individuals. Getting to know yourself and exploiting these capabilities to prospective employers will impress them. The likelihood that you would start at the bottom is only going to be with tenure. Your position will probably be higher within the company. You just might not have as much time in with the company as somebody else that has been there a while that is not at the same position as you. So don't let the fact that you might start over as far as tenure deter you from changing careers. And finally, there is a perfect career tailored just for you. The truth is, there are plenty of jobs which can be potentially perfect for you. In considering a new job, there is only one question you have to answer, and it is not, what's the best for my career? The question you should be asking yourself is, what do I want from my career? What kind of satisfaction are you looking for? Are you looking to go from business into helping people, such as what I do here with Career Services? This is a very satisfying career change for me. In closing, there are a few things you want to think about. First, the clearer your picture, the closer you are to finding it. You must see yourself in your ideal career. You can't just have it in words. You must be able to visualize all your values, goals, passions, and interests. Without that vision, you will be lost. Next, try the suit on first. In Cracking the Hidden Job Market, we noted that you find positions by talking to people. This is a vital part of this process as well, and you will not succeed without incorporating people into it. So talking to the individuals that are already doing the type of work that you want to be doing, networking with individuals to find those positions that you are interested in that might not be listed. It's very important that you talk to people in this process. Next, be very, very, very careful of getting a job by degree, of trying to get a job by degree. Don't go get a degree because you think it will guarantee you a job. Getting a certification in a trade skill may be all that is required. And if you do decide to go back and get a degree, be sure that you're improving your marketability by acquiring that degree before you invest the time and money in pursuing it. Education, college education, is very expensive. And you want to make sure that if you're investing that money, that you are going to be successful in finding the career that you want once you're done. There are numerous stories. People have been told you're going to need to go back and get a degree to get that kind of career. They go back and they're still looking for work. So be very careful about going back to school. Make sure you're doing it the right way. Next, take your time. Changing careers can be a long, arduous process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It is vital to take your time and put in the preparation in order to get to where it is you want to go. I can't stress this enough. It's very important. Take your time. Do things in steps. If you're not sure where to get started, take one step. Find one thing that you can get done that day. Remember, a journey of 10,000 miles starts with the first step. But take your time doing it. Finally, expect the unexpected. Being open to new ideas and having the confidence to pursue them will ensure that you will find the path that brings you to personal as well as professional satisfaction that you desire. So have your mind open. Pursue every idea. There's nothing off the table. No lead goes unturned or unexplored. Do not limit yourself that way. We want to thank you for viewing our presentation today. Please view the link below so that you can take a look and register for our upcoming webinars and to view our archived webinars at both the Alumni Association website as well as the Career Services website. Thank you and have a nice day.